Hi, I'm Wendy Geisel, and I chose the genre of romance and romantic comedies as my final paper topic. According to Benshoff and Griffin, 2016, our textbook, genre is defined as a type of fictional film produced within an industrial context. The genre of romance films often involves a plot that revolves around two protagonists and the love that they have for one another. The storyline usually explores an issue within love and the journey between the two protagonists along the way to either be defeated by the issue or resolve the issue and come together as one. The goal of a romantic film is to evoke strong emotions in the audience, says the Script Lab of 2016. A subgenre within romance films is romantic comedies. Romantic comedies usually portray to the audience how male and female characters each try to hold the upper hand in a relationship in a humorous way. According to Cohen, 2012, quote, open quote, cinematic romantic comedies are often referred to under the rubric of chick flicks, close quote, in an early era called women's pictures, which portrays that romantic films were specifically designed for women. Romantic films emphasize the positivity of heterosexual romantic couples, which was at once an avowedly fictional model in the goal of film fiction. For over 100 years, American films have frequently illustrated what is beautiful, what is sexy, what is manly, and how men and women should properly react in any given situation. In classical Hollywood films, femininity is often associated with being small, quiet, passive, emotional, nurturing, non-aggressive, dependent, and weak. In romance films, films in general, the idea of women playing the role of a love interest waiting to be rescued by a privileged man is known as classical Hollywood form, which lots of romance and romantic comedy films do portray the classic Hollywood form. Some literature that was found on romantic comedies. White discusses films' negotiation of gender roles and their attendant social expression. Much like the Victorian middle-aged class women I mentioned in my paper, many romance films are extremely ambiguous in its sexual politics. The film An Unmarried Woman supports this by criticizing the institution of marriage and taking the impossibility of romance seriously, yet constructing an unmarried woman who cynically fails to do anything but find another man. In romance films, romance and marriage are represented as available and satisfying choices for female protagonists who are able. In romantic comedies, females tend to be the main character due to their ability to accessorize, and be appealing to their main audience of this genre, which are women and youth. There's a high amount of evidence that youth and individuals can learn behavior norms, ideals, and certain aspects of their world from exposure to screen media, especially romance and romantic comedies. Movies with the highest viewing average were romance comedy films, according to a recent study done by researchers Hefner and Wilson. The study uncovered the prevalence of ideals in romantic comedy films. The next study done by these two were to determine where there is a meaningful connection determine or not if there was a meaningful connection between the content of these movies and the beliefs that certain viewers can endorse. The sample of this study included a total of 335 communication students at large. The students were given a questionnaire that was developed to assess a number of factors such as romantic beliefs, exposure to romantic comedy movies, overall movie viewers, watching movies to learn, and demographics and control variables. The study revealed, open quote, the exposure to romantic comedies is related to young people's endorsements of romantic beliefs, close quote. The study reported individuals who watched romantic comedies in order to learn, open quote, were more likely to endorse romantic beliefs than those who watched for other reasons, close quote. In the film, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, the main character is Andy, who is a beautiful, successful woman. She's portrayed as a bombshell character, although she is intelligent, so that contradicts the text that we learned in our film. She is some sort of a female fatale character due to how she takes on she controls men, and she would rather murder or kill them other than marry them. Although in this movie, she's not murdering them, she is embarrassing them or pushing them to break up with her. So in a sense, it's the same, but it's also different than the female fatale. In the movie Bridget Jones' Diary, this movie is a romantic comedy film about a 32-year-old single woman who decided to write a diary all about how she wishes to change her life around. She wants to lose weight, stop smoking, and find Mr. Right. She's secretly in love with her boss, who seems to be out of her league, but her parents continuously try to set her up with the family friend Mark. The whole movie is based on a woman, Bridget, finding the right man. The character of Bridget is a perfect example of the idea in our textbook that, open quote, finding the right man is the ultimate source of female happiness, close quote. The film Titanic is an epic romantic film. This film conveys the love story of a first-class passenger whose name is Rose and a penniless artist, Jack. Rose is wealthy and engaged to a man who is portrayed as controlling and aggressive, which is Cal, and that also gives an example on how our textbook connects male figures in films with masculinity, and Rose with being weak and submissive to men, because no matter what throughout the film, if he's aggressive or not, she is expected to accept it and move on with her life. After doing all the research on the romance comedies and reading the literature, reading our textbook, and learning the aspects of the genre that I never knew before, and going back and watching these movies that I've come to love in the past, it was really interesting for me to see and watch the movies through a perspective of knowing the information, like a blonde bombshell, or a female fatale, or how women are portrayed as submissive and always illustrated as finding Mr. Right as their main cause of happiness. This project was very interesting, and I will take the information that I learned with me throughout my college career. Thank you.